$3 liquid eliminates all rust permanently. No mechanic, no shop. Big Auto has been hiding this for years. Eli Beachy pulled a 40-year-old plow blade from behind his barn on a Thursday morning. The iron was orange to the bone. He set it on a sawbuck, brushed off the loose flake with a wire brush, and reached for a small mason jar on the shelf. The liquid inside cost him less than $3. 24 hours later, that blade was black as coal, sealed, solid, ready to cut earth, not painted over, not sanded down, chemically transformed. A study commissioned by the U.S. Federal Highway Administration found rust costs this country $276 billion every year. $276 billion. That same FHWA study found Americans spend $6.45 billion annually just to repair rust on motor vehicles. A single bottle of diluted phosphoric acid, $3 at any hardware store, performs the same chemistry as a $40 shop treatment. It does not remove rust, it permanently converts it into a different compound. Iron phosphate, stable, sealed, bonded to the metal itself. The Egyptians knew this chemistry 7,000 years ago, not 300, 7,000. The auto repair industry generates $58.7 billion a year in the United States. A significant piece of that is work this $3 liquid renders unnecessary. The black surface this reaction leaves behind is paintable, weather-resistant, and bonds stronger than bare metal. There are no fumes that require a shop, no grinding, no special tools, no mechanic. Stay close, because what this liquid is, where it comes from, and why they worked so hard to keep you sending your truck to the shop is the story this video tells. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what we share. Now, let us start with what the scientists documented, because the science on this is not new. It is just quiet. Rust is iron oxide. The formula is Fe2O3. When iron meets moisture and oxygen, it begins to shed electrons. Those electrons combine with water and oxygen to form iron hydroxide. Iron hydroxide dries into the red-brown flake you know as rust. This reaction does not stop on its own. It continues inward, deeper into the metal, until the metal is gone. The standard repair is mechanical. Grind, sand, blast, remove the rust layer entirely, and hope you caught it all. But rust is porous. It spreads through microcracks and reaches places no grinder can follow. Sandblasting removes surface rust, but does not neutralize what remains in the metal's grain. Therefore, the new rust begins from inside, underneath whatever paint you applied. This is not opinion. This is documented in industrial coating research. Phosphoric acid works differently. When it contacts iron oxide, a chemical reaction begins at the molecular level. The acid converts Fe2O3 into iron phosphate. Iron phosphate, written as FePO4, is not reactive. It does not continue to oxidize. It bonds tightly to the base metal and forms a hard, inert layer. Under a microscope, it looks like a conversion coating, sealing every pore of the original rust surface from the inside out. Researchers at China's Academy of Sciences published peer-reviewed work on phosphoric and gallic acid combinations treating marine-grade corrosion. Their analysis confirmed through X-ray diffraction that the rust components, including goethite, lepidocrosite, and magnetite, were fully converted into ferric phosphate within 6 hours. But there is a second compound that works the same mechanism. Tannic acid, found in every oak tree and in the bark of chestnut, sumac, and willow, converts iron oxide into ferric tannate. Dark blue-black, stable, insoluble, bonded to the metal surface, not sitting on top of it. Ferric tannate does not flake. It does not peel. When humidity reaches the surface later, the residual tannic acid rehydrates and continues the protective action. It works while it sits there. Plain spoken, this is what those two compounds do. They do not hide the rust. They eat it and replace it with something that cannot rust. A single ounce of 40% phosphoric acid solution, diluted to a working strength of 20% with tap water, treats roughly 4 square feet of surface rust, 1 ounce. At hardware store pricing, that ounce costs approximately 22 cents. But what the blacksmiths and tanners understood long before the chemistry was written down is worth knowing first. Tanning is an ancient technique estimated to have occurred as long ago as 5000 BC in Egypt. The Hebrews tanned hides with oak bark. The Romans used bark, certain woods, and berries. Arab craftsmen tanned with bark and roots and brought the knowledge back into Europe through Spain in the Middle Ages. For 3,000 years, this chemistry was common to every tannery from Britain to Bengal. But tanners understood something the books on leather did not emphasize. When iron tools rested in the tanning vats, they came out black, not rusted, black, sealed. The craftsmen noticed. They began soaking iron hooks, brackets, and hinges in spent tanning liquor. The iron came out dark and would not rust through the winter. In the 17th century, European scribes were writing their most important documents in iron gall ink. The formula was simple. Oak galls soaked in water for 3 months, iron sulfate added to the solution, tannic acid reacted with the iron salts and produced a permanent deep black that bonded to parchment and to any iron surface it touched. The same reaction that stops rust. In Japan, craftsmen applied a preparation called sumi, derived from fermented persimmon tannin, to iron agricultural tools. The tools blackened and hardened. The practice spread across every rice farming province. Every blacksmith knew it. In the American colonies, farmers soaked worn plow irons in bark tea. It cost nothing. It worked through every winter. This was common knowledge between farms, shared the way seed selection was shared, neighbor to neighbor. And then the auto industry arrived, and the body shop was invented, and the sandblaster became standard, and a process that cost $3 was quietly replaced by one that cost $300. This video is just the beginning of what we have gathered from communities that never stopped using these methods. In our guide, you will find step-by-step instructions for mixing your own $3 rust converter from hardware store phosphoric acid, a plain diagram for treating vehicle frames, tool heads, plow blades, and gates. A guide to tannic acid from bark for those who want the version that costs nothing. Instructions for coating after conversion to seal the surface permanently, and a reference on which surfaces each method works best on. The link is in the description, but stay, because what the auto industry built around this knowledge and what it cost your family is the part that does not appear on any invoice. Here's what you need to understand about the size of what was built on top of this $3 bottle. The global cost of rust and corrosion is $2.5 trillion annually. That is the estimate from NACE International, the National Association of Corrosion Engineers. $2.5 trillion, 3.4% of the entire world's gross domestic product. In the United States alone, corrosion costs $279 billion per year. NACE found that 25 to 30% of that total could be eliminated entirely using existing, established prevention methods. That is between $70 and $84 billion in savings sitting on a shelf at every hardware store. American vehicle owners spend $6.45 billion every year on rust-related motor vehicle repairs, according to the Federal Highway Administration's own study. Not guesswork, their study, their numbers. AAA surveyed its members in 2016 and found they had spent $15.4 billion in the previous 5 years just repairing rust damage from road de-icing salts. Now think about what a body shop charges to grind, prime, and repaint a rusted rocker panel. $150, sometimes $300. The phosphoric acid to treat that same panel thoroughly and permanently costs under $3. You cannot build a $58 billion automotive repair industry around a $3 bottle that every farmer used to keep on his shelf. You cannot charge $150 for rust remediation when the chemistry is printed on a standard hardware store product. You cannot create a recurring stream of return visits if the metal stays sealed. Therefore, the method was not advertised. The body shop was. There is a practical regulation worth knowing. In many states, vehicle inspection requirements mandate that structural rust be repaired to certain standards, but those standards specify the outcome, not the method. There is no regulation that says phosphoric acid conversion is insufficient. Therefore, a properly converted and painted surface passes inspection the same as a ground and primed one. The difference is the $3 cost versus the $300 bill. Now close your eyes for just a moment. Think of Eli Beachy's barn on a November evening. The tools on the wall are black from years of tannic treatment. Not a flake of rust on any of them. The plow blades that have turned Lancaster County soil through 100 frosts hang as solid as the day they were forged. There is no chemical smell. There is no compressor running. There is no bill. There is a mason jar on a wooden shelf and the knowledge of what it contains, and the quiet satisfaction of a man who does not need a shop to do what a $3 liquid can do in a day. Now, I want to be plain with you about what this liquid does not do. First, phosphoric acid does not repair metal that is rusted completely through. If the iron is gone, pitting has left holes, or a panel has structural failure, conversion coating cannot restore what is not there. Assess your metal before you treat it. Wire brush away anything loose. If the metal flexes under a push, it may need replacement. Second, the conversion reaction requires direct contact. Heavy flaking rust must be removed first. Not all of it, not to bare metal. But the loose surface material must come off so the acid can reach the bonded rust beneath. A wire brush in 5 minutes is enough on most surfaces. Third, phosphoric acid is mildly corrosive. Wear chemical-resistant gloves. Work outdoors or in a ventilated space. It is not aggressive in the way muriatic acid is, but it will irritate skin and eyes on extended contact. Here's the process, plain and complete. Purchase phosphoric acid solution from any hardware store. It is sold as concrete rust stain remover, metal prep and etch, or rust converter. A quart costs between $10 and $16 and will treat 8 to 12 square feet of surface rust. At one application per project, that is roughly $1.30 per square foot treated. Wire brush the rusted surface to remove all loose flake. Do not grind to bare metal. You want the bonded rust to remain. That is what the acid converts. Mix 1 part acid solution with 1 part water in a plastic or glass container. Never metal. Apply with a brush, dauber, or spray bottle. Saturate the surface thoroughly. Watch it work. The rust changes color as the conversion begins. Within 30 minutes, the orange shifts toward brown, then toward gray, then toward black. Full cure takes 24 hours in dry conditions. In humidity, give it 48. Once fully cured to an even black surface, apply 1 coat of oil-based primer, then paint as normal. The converted layer bonds to primer better than bare metal because the iron phosphate surface is slightly porous and accepts adhesion readily. A farmer outside Worcester, Ohio, treated the entire undercarriage of a 1992 flatbed truck that had been sitting in a field for 7 years. He used 3 quarts of diluted prep and etch, a wire brush, and a Sunday afternoon. Total material cost was $22. He primed and painted the following weekend. 3 years later, the frame shows no new rust. The body shop quote he received for the same undercarriage was $840. $22, $840, same truck, same winter salts, same Ohio weather. The Federal Highway Administration knew the numbers, $279 billion annually. They published the study. The NACE engineers knew the methods. They estimated 70 to 80 billion in annual savings from existing prevention techniques. The Egyptians knew the chemistry 5,000 years ago. Every European tannery knew it in the Middle Ages. The Japanese rice farmers knew it. The colonial settlers knew it. The Amish communities of Ohio and Lancaster County kept the knowledge because they never needed a body shop to tell them what a mason jar could do, and now you know it too. If this was useful to your family, share it with someone who has a truck outside right now. Every share carries this knowledge to the neighbor who needs it, not the shop that profits from their not knowing it. Next time, we will show you how the same communities preserved and waterproofed leather harnesses, boots, and wooden handles for 30 years without a single commercial product. The method uses 3 ingredients that grow in any hedgerow. They have not changed since 1700. We will see you there.